Thanks for joining us. This is Omni View, episode 49, Balanced News Perspectives. Today is May 13th, 2026. We'll cover what happened, how different viewpoints frame it, so you can decide for yourself. Britain's Labour government faces a direct test of authority as Prime Minister Starmer meets a leading rival while pledging to continue governing ahead of the King's speech. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer is scheduled to hold talks with Health Secretary Wes Streeting. Starmer has stated he intends to continue leading the government despite internal party challenges. The meeting comes before the King's speech outlining new legislation. Al Jazeera frames the encounter as a critical test of whether Starmer can retain control within his party while managing resignations and public pledges to govern. Some coverage highlights Streeting's potential role as a stabilizing figure or alternative leader, reflecting concerns over party unity and electoral prospects. Others emphasize Starmer's determination to push forward with the legislative agenda, viewing the talks as an internal management step rather than an immediate handover. What signals would indicate Starmer has secured continued support from key ministers? Shifting now to international diplomacy, U.S. President Donald Trump is traveling to Beijing for a meeting with Chinese leader Xi Jinping. The agenda includes trade relations, U.S. arms sales to Taiwan, and the ongoing situation involving Iran. Both sides have described the talks as high stakes amid broader international tensions. France 24 presents the summit as an opportunity to address multiple overlapping global concerns in one setting. Al Jazeera coverage stresses the interconnected nature of trade disputes, regional security questions around Taiwan, and the Iran conflict as factors shaping the discussions. Some reporting notes the potential for limited agreements on specific issues while broader differences remain. Which specific outcomes would be viewed as progress by each side? Next, 10 residents from UK overseas territories in the South Atlantic are being brought to Britain for further observation after exposure to hantavirus. 20 others already in the UK have been discharged from hospital following initial checks. Health authorities are tracking the cases linked to specific environmental conditions. Mail Online reports focus on the logistics of repatriation and self-isolation requirements for those affected. France 24 coverage emphasizes the disease's lower transmissibility compared with COVID-19, while noting its higher fatality rate in confirmed cases. Public health commentary distinguishes this cluster from widespread pandemic scenarios, pointing to particular exposure pathways involving rodents and confined settings. What containment measures are being applied during transport and monitoring? Bloomberg analysis shows China maintaining a network of roughly 80 firms supporting rapid growth in missile stockpiles. The expansion involves both state and civilian-linked companies and occurs against a backdrop of reduced U.S. inventories from other commitments. Production revenues have reached record levels. Bloomberg reporting highlights the scale of industrial involvement and its implications for long-term military reach. Some analysis connects the buildup to broader strategic competition, while others note the role of dual-use technologies in accelerating output. Views vary on whether the priority is defensive posture or power projection, with different outlets weighing the pace of expansion against transparency limits. How might supply chain involvement by civilian firms affect future oversight? SoftBank reported a $46 billion yearly profit for its Vision Fund, driven largely by the increased valuation of its stake in OpenAI. The result reflects strong performance in select technology investments amid fluctuating market conditions. CNBC coverage centers on the outsized contribution of the OpenAI holding to overall returns. Some market commentary views the outcome as evidence of concentrated bets paying off, while others note the volatility inherent in large technology valuations. Perspectives differ on whether such gains signal broader sector recovery or remain tied to specific high-profile assets. How dependent are future results on continued growth in a few key holdings? French prosecutors are due to announce requested sentences in the appeal of former President Nicolas Sarkozy over allegations of illegal 2007 campaign funding from Libya. Sarkozy was previously sentenced to prison by a lower court, becoming the first modern French president to serve time. France 24 presents the case as a landmark legal process testing accountability for past campaign practices. Coverage notes the appeal stage allows re-examination of evidence while highlighting the historic nature of any upheld prison term. Perspectives differ on whether the focus is individual accountability or wider questions about foreign influence in elections. What range of sentences is under discussion in the appeal? Now, to really understand one of the stories touching family court processes, there's something most coverage leaves out. Most reporting on family court decisions assumes that expert psychological reports carry formal professional oversight. Yet many experts providing testimony operate without statutory regulation. In practice, courts rely on a mix of registered psychologists, counselors, and other practitioners whose qualifications are evaluated case by case rather than through a single licensing body. This structure developed historically to ensure timely access to specialist insight in urgent custody matters, but it leaves room for varying standards of training and methodology. When judges weigh these reports, they must balance the expert's stated experience against the absence of mandatory peer review or continuing professional development requirements. Knowing this, readers can better evaluate claims that a particular outcome resulted from expert advice by asking whether the individual held recognized credentials or simply presented relevant experience. Next time you see reporting on a custody dispute involving psychological evidence, ask what formal qualifications the expert held, whether their methodology was open to challenge, and what alternative sources of information were available to the court. Tomorrow, watch for any early signals from the Trump and Xi summit on trade or security matters. That wraps up today's Omni View. Remember, the best informed people read more than one perspective. If this show helps you do that, share it with someone who values fair coverage. See you tomorrow. This episode used AI voice synthesis of my voice. Editorial selection and analysis are my own.